Good morning, guys, and welcome, wicked smart listeners. Thanks for joining us week again. This is Chris Pre with another podcast, another amazing episode, and another amazing guest. So I often refer to this. If you're driving or sitting focused listening, either way, I encourage you to literally listen for the nuggets, listen for possible action items and ahas that you can utilize to either create more deals with 3 paydays or generally improve your life or your bank account. And some of you haven't even had the experience, and I call it an experience because it's just that. It creates a whole different way of life to create those 3 paydays. As a reminder, all of these are on YouTube, and you can subscribe to the channel, and you should, because we have the Q&A Thursdays, we have the Motivational Mondays, and we have the Deal Structure Sundays. Each and every one of those fit into sort of the genius model, mindset, skill set, and systems, and you're going to want to sprinkle those into your daily activities for sure. As a reminder, upcoming events, we have now the private In the Trenches bootcamp that we beta tested, and it's been over the top successful. I don't think I've talked about it. If I did, maybe once on the podcasting, because it's brand new. We actually bring you into our office. There's room for 15 or 20 maximum. My office in Newport, Rhode Island is not that big. The events run typically every 6 or so weeks, depending on when you're hearing this. We have one in June. We have one in August. We have one in October and December. And so if you're past these dates, just check with support@smartrealestatecoach.com. If you want to go ahead and check out the dates, go to smartrealestatecoach.com/in-the-trenches-June. In-the-trenches-June. But again, you can always go to support. Next major thing is the 23rd and 24th of September. We do have our QLS live event. You can go to smartrealestatecoach.com/QLS live. And because you're a wicked smart listener, plug in the coupon code podcast50. That's 50. And we'll go ahead and get you a 50% off ticket. Okay, buckle in here while we bring you the next wicked smart masters class. Today I'm going to hang out with Garrett and Ted Sutton. Now, Garrett's a corporate attorney, asset protection expert. I don't think you can get enough of that, to be honest with you guys, as far as exposure to it. Also a best-selling author with over 1 million books sold. 1 million. Get it with them. Garrett's helped clients protect their assets and achieve financial goals through their firm, and he's assisted more than 13,000 clients. So you got 30 years and 13,000 clients, guys. He's a member of the Rich Dad Advisors, which gives a nice little twist to what they do and what we do as a community for you guys. And he frequently speaks on business entities and asset protection. He holds a degree from Colorado College. Ted's also an attorney, Garrett's son. He's raised in Reno, Nevada, graduated from the University of Utah. Ted focuses on Corporate Transparency Act compliance, and he authored 5 tricks to teach your kids about money. I thought that was an interesting twist to chat about that a little bit today, just to get an idea, because it's simply not done on any platform, in any school, anywhere. So that'd be a really cool ad for you today. So we'll delve into that a little bit. All right, guys, I want to make sure to remind you about our QLS live event. We've been hosting this thing since 2016 in a basement, and now we have a brand new facility in Boston, Massachusetts this year, 2024. It's going to be September 23rd and 24th. That's a Monday and a Tuesday. It makes it easy for travel. It is literally right next to the airport. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com/QLS live and use the coupon code podcast50. That's going to give you 50% off. I'll see you there. All right, with that as a backdrop, Garrett and Ted, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chris. Great to be here.
Yep, thanks for having us on, Chris.
Yeah, if you guys are not on YouTube, you listen to this on audio, please jump over to YouTube, because I get the luxury of having both these guys here today, and this is cool to do an interview like this in one camera versus 2. I love it. All right, so you guys could jump in, and obviously whatever you want, right, as we go, but I guess I want to start with some basics and sort of how you guys landed here, because you're a father-son team like I have in my company, right? And I love it. And I've been doing it for, 12 years out of my 33 now. So how did you land there together, and what's that like? I wanted to bridge it with that.
Yeah, so I have been practicing law for a number of years. I became very fortunate to become associated with Robert Kiyosaki. I'm one of the Rich Dad Advisors. I've written a number of books in the series, including Loopholes of Real Estate. And over the years, I've traveled with Robert and Ted over those periods of years, has met and traveled with Robert, and he decided to come into the law practice, which, every father loves that idea. And so it's just been great to get Ted ingrained in the business, and he's going to take over from me someday, because we all do retire someday.
Yeah. I hear you loud and clear. Ted, thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, he kind of gave my bio a little bit. So as you can tell, I'm his son, and when I went to college, I actually got a degree in mining engineering, believe it or not. But the year before I graduated, I worked at a mine in Chile, and it was a great experience, but it made me realize that I didn't really want to make a career out of that. So after I graduated college, my parents sat down with me, and we ultimately decided that it would be best for me to go to law school and see where it took me from there. So I went to law school for 3 years, graduated, took 2 bar exams, and, ever since then, I've been working with my dad, and it's been a really good relationship. And, just learning the ropes, and he pushes stuff onto my plate.
And now he's starting to write books. So that's all good too.
Well, I want to go on that a little bit and dig in that, you guys, because I don't know what it is. I tend to gravitate towards attorneys that do other things. And I didn't even know this about you guys until I started studying a little bit this week. And that is, you've been part of Kiyosaki. Now you're teaching kids. We'll get back to that about money. But how did that happen? Because it's just different, right? And I love it. So how did that happen?
Well, in traveling with Robert Kiyosaki around the world, it became very clear that parents, no matter where they are, want their kids to learn about money. And not only in our country, but in other countries, it's not taught in schools. Right. And so one of the focuses that we've embarked upon is to help parents teach their kids about money and business. And we have a platform called sunstream.com, SUNN, where we have educational materials so that parents can get their kids learning about money at the right age, which is early. And then Ted has written a book that's available for free on Sunstream called The 5 Tricks to Teach Your Kids About Money. It's a free download. So we're just trying to give back in this kind of area where a lot of parents feel that they really need help teaching their kids about money.
I love it. I had the chance only once to meet, and I was in a green room with Robert Kiyosaki, my wife and I, and so it was an amazing experience. I'd love to talk to you guys offline about a little bit more of that. Maybe we can do some cool things together. All right, so let's pivot a little bit, guys. Let's pivot to asset protection, and then I would like you guys to parlay that into what's going on with the Corporate Transparency Act, because I'm not an expert at it, but I know many people don't even know about it. So first, asset protection, like maybe the high points. And the reason I want to start with that, Garrett and Ted, is if you look at my history coming out of the '08 crash, that's something I did not do properly. So now I'm like, this is an absolute must, because if I had done it properly prior to the crash, I wouldn't have went through the 4 years that I did, right? So if you're going to just address from your standpoint why it's important.
Well, Chris, you're not alone in that. We have all sorts of clients that just, when you get started, you're not thinking about asset protection. You're thinking about doing the deals and everything. But it's important at the start to set up the proper structure for your investments and for your activities. And so we set up LLCs and corporations in all 50 states. At Corporate Direct, we offer a free 15-minute consult. But just know at the start that when you buy that first property, if you have a brokerage account that has some good assets in it, you want to protect that with an LLC. And we want to pick the right state for the LLC. Nevada, Wyoming, and Delaware, all 3 have excellent laws that protect the owners of LLCs against creditors and predators. And, it's not hard or expensive to set these up. It's just if you don't do it, as you experienced, Chris, it's really significant. You need to take these steps right now.
Now, this is a question that I'm curious about, not just for the listeners. You mentioned Wyoming, Nevada, Delaware, and there's a 4th.
Well, Texas now is a good state. They have a good charging order law in Texas just in the last 2 years.
And how do you guys determine which of those 4? Does it matter where the investor is, or is it something else you're looking for when you look at, okay, where should I do this LLC?
Well, we typically like to have an LLC in the state where the property is located. So you've got a property in Vermont. We have a Vermont LLC owned by one Wyoming LLC. You have a property in Massachusetts. We got a Massachusetts LLC owned by the same Wyoming LLC. We like Wyoming for a couple of reasons, Chris. The annual fee is only $62 a year. There's no state tax or filing for the state of Wyoming. And they keep your name off the state website, so you have some privacy there. They have a great law, the charging order protection, which is similar to that in Nevada and Delaware. But when you compare it all, we like Wyoming the best.
Yeah, so can you, I know the answer the hard way here, but can you tell them why it's important for the anonymity for asset checking and things like that if somebody's going looking for a lawsuit?
Well, if someone's looking to sue you, they're going to search the internet and see where your name appears. To the extent that you can keep your name off the internet, all the better. Now, if you are sued, you've got to go into court and tell the truth that you own a Wyoming LLC. So we're not trying to encourage people to, commit perjury, but you want to have that structure in place because the courts will recognize that you set up the entity before there was a lawsuit and you are entitled to protection.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first comment, was what I was referring to, because I know some people will, I think, you can tell me if I'm wrong, do that asset search, and if they don't find anything because of the anonymity, they don't come barking. And if they find something, then they come barking. I'm kind of right with that?
Yes, that is accurate.
Yeah. Barking is the wrong word, but yes.
We know what you mean. Now, Chris, you always want to have insurance. Insurance is the first line of defense.
Yeah.
And then these entities are the second line of defense.
Awesome point. Yep, awesome point. And now let's talk about the corporate transparency, because nobody's getting around that, right? From what I understand, if you could just explain what that is and then what they should be aware of.
Yep. So the Corporate Transparency Act is a new federal disclosure law. It was passed in 2021, on January 1st, 2021. And it just took effect in January 1st of 2024 of this year. And what it requires small businesses to report personal information to the federal government. So, when you set up an LLC or a corporation, in the past, that has only been done with the Secretary of State. But this new law requires you to report information to the federal government, too. So you need to report information about the company, its beneficial owners. And if you don't do that, the penalties are very severe. You could face up to $10,000 in fines or even 2 years of imprisonment. It's really concerning, and the worst part of all is that nobody's talking about it. So the fact that you're having us on your show and we're informing your viewers is really important because the mainstream media is not talking about it. And, unfortunately, 30 million small business owners are left in the dark here.
Yeah, so is that, I want some clarification for myself, too. So that is every LLC, including, say, someone has their own residence and they have an LLC that's just sitting on that. Every LLC has to be reported, correct?
So there are some exemptions there. There's 20. So the first question is whether your company counts as a reporting company. And a reporting company is defined as an entity that's created by filing a document with the Secretary of State. So in that case, it's LLCs, corporations, limited partnerships. Now, there are 23 exemptions to that requirement, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but one of them is the large operating company. And that's where you have 21 or more employees, you have $5 million in gross receipts in the U.S. in a given year. And then the third is that you have a physical office somewhere in the U.S. So if you meet all three of those, then you're exempt. But if you fall below that requirement, which is pretty much all small businesses,
right,
then you have to report your information. So this law is unique because when the federal government regulates businesses, usually they're going after the big businesses. But the Corporate Transparency Act is unique because this goes after the small businesses. So, these are the mom and pop businesses. These are people who have business brokerage accounts, and they're also people who invest in real estate. So those are the people who are going to have to report their information to the federal government.
Super helpful. I want to make sure I put the free link in for the 15-minute call that you mentioned, just because we're talking about this, and obviously we're giving the 10,000-foot view at best. So they can go to smartrealestatecoach.com/Sutton, Sutton. So guys, it's a free 15-minute consultation. Anything else they should know about that call, guys?
No, I think just schedule a free 15-minute consult with one of our specialists. If you need help setting up a business or you have questions about the Corporate Transparency Act, we've built out a department that's handled CTA filings for our clients and for anyone else who wants us to do their filing. So, any help with setting up a business, cleaning it up, or CTA filings, just click that link and we'd be happy to help you out.
One thing to mention, Chris, is the filing, if you have an entity formed prior to 2024, you've got until the end of this year to comply with the rule. If you set an entity up in 2024, you've got 90 days to get the information in. Now, you have to file this information once, but as part of the filing, you have to include an image, a copy of your driver's license or passport. And then if your driver's license expires and you get a new one, you've got to amend the filing. So you don't have to file it every year, but once you have a new driver's license, you have to file. And so part of our effort is to make sure that our clients know when they have to amend the filing. So we're keeping track of when the license expires so we can make sure our clients stay compliant.
Big, real big, right? That because I don't know how people can keep track of that on their own. That would be a nightmare. Very cool help. Yeah, no, it's awesome, guys. And I think that alone should spark every listener because there's so many wicked smart listeners that have maybe even one LLC or two, doing a deal here or there, and they wouldn't catch this. It wouldn't come across their plate. So super helpful. Before I ask you guys more about the kids and teaching them money, anything else on any of those two fronts that we talked about that I didn't ask, just so we don't leave things on the table, either the transparency or the asset protection? Anything else you want to add to that? Any nuggets?
Well, the Transparency Act, there's some information that you have to collect. And a lot of people are going to wait till the end, until December 20th or December 31st. And I just would suggest that you do this now. Don't wait till the end because it does take a while to gather all the information and get it to the federal website.
Well, and then maybe I hate to tell horror stories, Garrett, but you guys must have seen a horror story or two from someone not doing proper asset protection other than me, that maybe there's a lesson in there that we could share a brief. I don't know if something comes to mind.
Well, Robert Kiyosaki tells the story of a friend of his who was a general partner in a lumber store. And, back in the day, you would be a general partner. We weren't a litigious society back in the day. But as a general partner, a handshake deal, he was responsible for his partner's mistakes. And so a lot of times people just fall into business. They don't think about it. But if you're a partner with someone, you're equally responsible for their mistakes. So you don't want to get into business on the wrong foot like that.
Right. And so that part of the many things you guys do with the planning, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything we can expand on them? Because I think the combination of what you guys do and now also adding in the helping kids with money is, as I said in the intro, it's just not taught anywhere. To my knowledge, still not. And I've been saying that since I myself was in high school, way back. So it's just not taught. So any thoughts on that? What you're doing now with it, what they can learn?
Yeah, and the fact that they don't teach about money in school, it's very concerning because, I went through the public education system and then I was in higher level education for 8 years. And I learned absolutely nothing about personal finance in all my years of being in school. And so, that's why we're starting Sunstream and we're making an effort to educate kids. And that's also why I wrote my book called The 5 Tricks to Teach Your Kids About Money, because generally they don't teach financial education in schools. And one of the questions I got was, how exactly do you teach kids about money? And so I boiled down 5 different tricks or 5 different methods that parents could use to boost their kids' financial IQ. And it's a free ebook. You can head over to sunstream.com/5 tricks. That's SUNN, 2 N's, STRDAM.com/5 tricks. And you can download the book for free. And I've sold 200 copies right now. He's sold 1 million. So, if you can...
and if they're free, you haven't sold them.
Yeah. Well, okay, down.
I don't find the competition.
Yeah, right.
So, if you could just help me catch up to my dad, anyone out there was free, really appreciate that. Doesn't cost anything. All you need to do is click a button and download the book. But it'll help because at the end of the day, it will boost your kids' financial IQ.
Yeah, I love it. And super generous, guys. Thank you for that. And the free strategy call, both invaluable ads that they can run with today. And I'm always saying, I just said in the intro, look for the ahas, look for the action items, because you can listen to blue in the face and it doesn't do anything. So Wicked Smart listeners, take advantage of that. Guys, is there anything else that I know I do a lot of interviews like you guys, and I get off sometimes and go, oh man, I didn't say this, or they didn't ask me this. Anything at all that you want to add before we jump?
Well, just that asset protection, people have this sense that it's expensive, and it's not. It's just another form of insurance. I mean, you're going to pay for insurance on the duplex you buy. You might as well have a second line of insurance with these entities. And so the other thing to know, Chris, is with an LLC, instead of owning it in your own name where you're at risk of a tenant suing and reaching all of your assets, with these LLCs, your audit risk is lower too. So, the IRS kind of wants you to use business entities because that's how prudent people who want to protect their assets handle things.
Yeah, another good nugget. Thank you, guy. Because I know you've seen enough to probably pull out a bunch of these nuggets, and it's super helpful. I really appreciate you guys. I'd love to explore further some things with the community. I'm saying that publicly on purpose. So I think they need exposure to you more. So we'll do some more things together, and they can look forward to that, as well as having you perhaps on an encore back on the show. Really appreciate you guys, and appreciate your free gifts.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Wicked Smart listeners, that wraps up our time together today with Mr. Garrett and Ted Sutton. If you enjoyed the show on any level, could you take a few seconds, rate it, review it, please share it with others. Just take a few seconds now and share it with at least, say, one person. That would do us a huge favor and get this good positive energy out there instead of listening to the garbage that's out there in the media. When you do that, email me and let me know your biggest takeaway. Also, as a thank you, I'd love to do a private call with you. This is not my team. This is not the sales team. This is not the advisors. This is just me privately with you. You can go to smartrealestatecoach.com/Chris pre-call, and we'll get on there together, you and I. Lastly, I am fully aware that you take 30 or so minutes out of your limited, about 10,080, I think is the exact number of your minutes per week. And we don't take that lightly, guys. We literally meet weekly to see how we can up-level these interviews for you. And we're not going to stop doing that ever. So go off and make it an outstanding week, an outstanding quarter, an outstanding year. And we'll be back with you next week with another amazing episode. Thanks for being on today, and thanks for being a Wicked Smart listener. I hope to see you at QLS Live. That's QLS Live event this September in Boston.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast. If you're ready to invest in yourself and take your investing to the next level, check out our 90-day Jumpstart program by going to smartrealestatecoach.com/jump. That's smartrealestatecoach.com/jump, because now is the time to act boldly in this unprecedented market shift.